Okay, welcome Planning and Land Use Committee meeting. This is Rosalie Preston, the Vice Chair. It is 6:33 p.m. Secretary Madge, could you take the roll call?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. The chair is vacant. Rosalie Preston,
Present.
Magini Nixon, here. Craig Kusunoki,
Here.
RV Powell,
Here.
Janisha Robinson,
Here.
Rebecca Rodriguez. Rebecca's not here yet. Angela Springs. Angela's not here yet. And Louetta Watson.
Present.
Okay.
Okay, I don't see any members of the public for general public comment. So we will move on to item 3, approval of the minutes from the March 4th special committee meeting. It's termed special because if you've set a regular meeting date per month and you meet on a different day, then technically under the Brown Act, you're supposed to call it special. So did everyone review the minutes? Is there a motion to approve or any corrections?
I motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Thank you, RV.
And a second?
I'll second the motion.
Craig, second, okay. And if we can have the roll call for the vote?
Okay. The chair is vacant. Rosalie Preston,
Yes.
Magini Nixon, yes. Craig Kusunoki,
Yes.
RV Powell,
Yes.
Janisha Robinson,
Yes.
Rebecca Rodriguez and Angela Springs are still not here. Louetta Watson.
Yes.
Okay, it passes 5 yeses.
Isn't it 6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, thank you. 6 yeses. I didn't count myself.
And just a note, the chair position is vacant, but we don't really acknowledge that in the attendance or the roll call, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 4, which is consideration of a draft comment letter on the final EIR for the proposed 53-foot tall, 340,298 square foot warehouse / manufacturing / high cube / warehouse / distribution center at 15116-15216 South Vermont Avenue and 747-861 West Redondo Beach Boulevard with 36 docks, which is the equivalent of 71 trucks, 24/7 operation, and 768 daily truck trips. The case numbers are CPC-2014-CU-ZAA-SPR and ENV for the environmental -2017-1015-EIR with a recommendation to the board. And at this point, I will recuse myself, and I want to make sure, Madge, are you the co-host?
I think so. Hold on a second.
Because you
Yeah.
managed Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm the co-host.
Yeah, so I am recusing myself on the advice of the city attorney's office because I was one of two residents who filed an appeal in 2018 when the City Planning Commission approved the project under a lesser environmental review, which was a mitigated negative declaration. So I will leave the meeting and then, well, maybe I'll just go into another room. I don't want to cut off the transcript.
Do you think, Rosalie, I just wonder if maybe we can quickly go through the other business and
Well,
then,
oh, well, that's okay. I'll just text me. I'll be in another room.
okay. I
And
wonder,
just
maybe I
text
can
me
put
to come
you,
back.
can I put you in a waiting room? Let me see. I don't see that. Yeah, I was wondering if I could put you like in a waiting room, but I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I'll just go into another room and so
But you
just
know
text.
what? I think if you do leave the Zoom, I can see that the recording is still going.
Well,
So
yeah, it's
it
just
should be fine.
the transcript.
Hmm.
Do you
Okay.
think?
I think it should be okay, but I'll defer to you and I can
Yeah, I
definitely.
just don't want to mess up the technical aspect here. So,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, just text me when.
Okay,
So
Rosalie.
I'm leaving now. I have to make a note of the time.
Yeah, 6:40.
Okay.
Okay, hopefully everyone can see my screen. And Lou, I'm going to defer to you for a moment because I've received a couple of corrections and I just want to make sure I'm working off of the right document.
Okay.
And I'm going to put this link in the chat. I don't know if we have a chat. I don't think we have a chat. Let me see. It's the Google Doc that if anyone is on their computer able to click the link, I think it was in. No, it's not in the agenda. Okay, that's too bad. It was on the minutes, but anyways, if you can see my screen, that's fine. I do want to just give a little bit more context because Rosalie and I had a meeting with the city planner and a couple other folks from the city's office, so from the city planning office. So on April 10th, which was, I believe, last Thursday, for about 30 minutes, we asked a couple of like clarifying questions about this April 24th, next Thursday's public hearing. So I just wanted to give just a kind of a brief update for that, and then we can go into making the edits on our draft letter. So it was myself and Rosalie present, basically representing the neighborhood council, and then Jason McCrea, MCCREA, and Kirsten Turner. Kirsten is the planner. That's why you'll see down below we are addressing this letter to her. So Kirsten Turner, excuse me, is the city planner assigned to this project. She will also be the hearing officer. Jason McCrea was also there at the meeting, and this meeting was virtually over Zoom. He's her supervisor, and both of them mentioned that they have been out to the site, this Prologis site that we're talking about. Mindy Nguyen was the third person there from the city, and she's the supervisor of both Kirsten and Jason. So it was the five of us on this, 20, 30-minute virtual call, and they clarified a few things that I'm showing on my screen here. So the time per speaker on April 24th, it will vary based on the number of people that kind of virtually turn out. They mentioned, an example of a hearing going for 8 hours. I'm hopeful, they're hopeful this will not be that long next Thursday, but depends. It could go as long as it needs to go. They kind of mentioned it like that. And because we're, hopefully a lot of us can show up from the neighborhood council, given that they know that we want to speak and that we will be present, we may be granted extended time, but they couldn't guarantee that without knowing the number of people present on the time of the meeting. So stay tuned for that, or I guess tune in and we'll see. The second note here, in terms of format, so they said that photos could be submitted in a PDF format, also video links, in include video links in the written testimony. So if for some reason someone wants to attend, but they're unable to, or they have to drop off early, I believe the meeting starts at, the hearing, excuse me, starts at 10 a.m. You're able to submit video, PDF forms, photos, those kind of things. So that's something for us to consider, especially if people aren't able to join. The next kind of this thing here is the decision process. So the CPC, or City Planning Commission, will vote on May 8th, and that will be final unless there is an appeal to this. So that's just a note there. And then Kirsten Turner, again, she is the planner and the hearing officer. She will be submitting the report to the CPC, the City Planning Commission, and she has to do that, I think, roughly 10 calendar days or 10 days prior to the vote, which is May 8th. So her deadline, she has a very quick turnaround to April 28th. She did mention that they've been working on their, I guess, decision documents for a while, so they're confident that they can meet that April 28th deadline for submitting their report. Two more things here on this, and then we'll get into the letter. Let's see, legal standards. So decisions must follow the CEQA, CEQA, and city regulations to reduce legal liability for the city. And then let's see, in terms of a technical review, the draft EIR and final EIR were reviewed by technical subcontractors, and the contractors were hired by the city. So this was a clarification question, and I think one that we've asked before, you know, just trying to get insight into there being third party or neutral folks that were doing the technical review, and not just contractors that were hired by Prologis. So the team there, the LA City Planning team, said that yes, these subcontractors were hired directly by the city, not Prologis. So are there any questions on that before we go into looking at the draft letter?
Yes, I looked online and on the city planning website, and they had a list for 2020, which should be listed on the EIR on the final.
Okay.
And it really defines, it's talking about CEQA, what they should follow by, and all the recommendations and everything. And this is back in 2020 when Garcetti had put this out before the Planning Commission.
Okay.
Perhaps I can share it, you know, afterwards or something, and maybe do a comparison and see if they met those guidelines also.
Okay, yeah, that would be great, RV. And we had another link here that I'm sharing on my screen that talks about, given that this is a virtual virtual hearing, there's some meeting instructions as well, which I think
Yeah.
would be good for people to know how to join, how to raise your hand, that kind of a thing. I'm showing the website here, but that's another link I'll make sure we send out.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll share that. Oh boy,
Okay.
I'm trying to look, because it was on that website also.
Okay.
Let me
Or
see
if you
if I
could
can
tell
find-
me how to get there, I can copy
yeah,
it.
how did I get there? It was on, what was I looking at? I think it was on planning and, where did I find it at? I can't remember, but I saved it on my computer. But
What's
it
it
was on
called?
that.
Maybe I can search it.
Let me look at it right quick, how I saved it on
Okay.
my
Okay,
computer.
while you're doing that, let me
Yeah,
go,
just-
and I have a question for Lou.
Uh-huh. Documents,
Lou,
Oh,
are you able to see the screen?
I found it. It's environmental criteria, November 18, 2020, the EIR criteria.
The criteria. Let me see if I can just search that. Okay, environmental. Say that one more time, RV.
Environmental criteria.
Does it say anything else after that?
I didn't,
Environmental-
oh, let me see. I done lost it.
Oh, here we
Sorry.
go. I think this is it.
You found it? Okay.
I think so. California
Yeah.
Environmental Quality Act, the CEQA.
Yeah, I believe I found it on that, and then it goes into a letter or something about, I'll go further down. See, CEQA process. And the
Yes.
you and all that, they had that on there. And
Okay.
and you click on one of them and it had the letter where Garcetti had put out for the city planners to go by a guideline.
Okay, let's see. My computer's a little slow. It looks like it's pulling up some PDF flow chart.
No, it's not that. It was like a letter.
Okay, let's see.
It might be under the other one, I think. I can't remember exactly where,
Let's
which
see.
one.
Um,
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh, I think this might be,
Okay,
yeah.
here it is, November 18th.
Yeah, and then at the bottom, if we scroll up, they have a list of criteria with the, what they're, for the review and everything. About, it's kind of like what the process, and look, under this, they have to aesthetics and all that, and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And all that.
Okay. Yeah, this is great. This is a lot.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
I'll-
lot. It's kind of interesting,
Yeah, this is good. I'm gonna
Yeah, it's
download-
almost like, a Rubik type thing, to
Right.
me.
I'm gonna download this. Okay. And I'll put this here. Okay, any other questions or kind of comments before we get into editing this letter? Okay. Let me see. So Lou, I know I received a couple of updates from you, and I'm not sure I was able to incorporate all of them, so I thought maybe we could just go kind of section by section. Okay, that works.
Let's go to the oops one, dude. That's the one, let's work from the oops.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because I started copying. So I did update the address. Whoops. And it's I think MS Kirsten Turner. I'll make this just a little bigger. Okay. Now, what I might have to do, hold on. I have two screens here that I'm navigating, so I'm just making sure. Okay. I'm not sure if this is necessary. This was just something I copied over. Okay, so Reprologis Vermont and Redondo Project 15116-15216 South Vermont Avenue and 747-861 West Redondo Beach Boulevard. CPC 2017 1014 CU Z8A SPR, ENV 2017 1015 EIR. So that's the project information. So dear Ms. Turner, the Harbor Gateway North Neighborhood Council has reviewed the final EIR for the proposed 53-foot tall, 340,298 square foot warehouse slash manufacturing slash high cube slash warehouse slash distribution center at 15116-15216 South Vermont Avenue and 747-861 West Redondo Beach Boulevard with, with 71 truck bays, 24/7 operations, and 768 daily truck trips. On April 22nd, 2025, our board voted to submit the following comments. Okay, so far so good. All right, next. Per the state attorney general's warehouse best practices September 2022, imprudent warehouse development can harm local communities and the environment. Among other pollutants, diesel trucks visiting warehouses emit nitrogen oxide, NOx, a primary precursor to smog formation and a significant factor in the development of respiratory problems like asthma, bronchitis, and lung irritation. And diesel particulate matter, a subset of fine particulate matter that is smaller than 2.5 micrometers, a contributor to cancer, heart disease, respiratory illness, and premature death. Trucks and on-site loading activities can also be loud, bringing disruptive noise levels during 24/7 operations that can cause hearing damage and prolonged exposure. The hundreds and sometimes thousands of daily truck and passenger car trips that warehouses generate contribute to traffic jams, deterioration of road surfaces, and traffic accidents. In reviewing the final EIR, we note these areas of concern that were not adequately evaluated or without suitable mandated mitigations for their impact on our environmental justice community, which already experiences a high air pollution burden from the I-110 and the operations of the Construction Debris Recycling Center, California Waste Services, at 621 West 152nd Street. And then we go into each of those categories, Arvi, that I think you had pointed out on that letter. So the first is aesthetics. And Lou, correct me here, I think I picked up some of your changes. Okay, in regards to the scenic highway designation of Vermont Avenue, north of Redondo Boulevard. Should that be Redondo Beach Boulevard? As a scenic highway, contrary to documentary evidence, the response gives the appearance of bias by responder. The responder's selective and misleading interpretation is not supported by state law. Please refer to Scenic Highways Frequently Asked Questions at Caltrans. Lou, are you with me?
Yes, that's the one. You're
Okay. So this is what I just copied here was the update.
Yes.
Okay. The state of California.
Madge,
Go ahead.
under the aesthetics part, and the
Yes.
response gives the appearance of, is it supposed to be bias?
Yes, bias.
Yeah.
Not basis, bias by responder. Thank you for that, Craig. Extra. Okay. Okay, let me continue. The state of California Scenic Highways FAQ sheet, specifically item 1, elements that make a highway scenic. 2, definition of a corridor protection program and what is included therein. 3, or III, can scenic highways be widened or otherwise changed? Read in its entirety. IV, does official designation preclude development? V, some of the benefits of official scenic highway designation. Bullet item number 4. The analysis and conclusion of the FEIR is not supported by evidence. As a result of the omissions, the conclusion should be, per SEQA, guideline section 15088.5, A, a substantial adverse environmental effect would result from the project.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else we want to add in the aesthetics section? We can always come back. And we've got about 5 pages. This is page 1.5. Okay, I'm going to move on to air quality. Okay. Inadequate analysis in the DEIR and FEIR of the impact to nearby sensitive uses of the significant increase of nitric oxide or NOx, and especially PM or particulate matter. I wonder if we should put that.
I think you should spell out nitric oxide because
Okay.
people need to know what that is.
Right. I was thinking that too. Here we go. Nitrogen oxide.
May I interject something? Even-
Yes.
Even though you're gonna spell it out, you should put in parentheses NOx, because that is what everybody refers it to,
Yes.
or to noxic oxide. They call it NOx.
Knox. Okay. I've got it both here. Particulate, I think it's particulate matter. I'll double check. I think it's particulate matter. Particulate matter, PM 2.5 particulates that would be generated by 768 daily truck trips. Little indentation there. Okay. We're still on air quality. No analysis in the DEIR or FEIR of the cumulative impact from the existing air pollution generated by the construction debris recycling facility, California Waste Services, 621 West 152nd Street, which is currently permitted to have 212 daily truck trips and creates a significant amount of PM 2.5 from crushing of concrete and other items which are recycled there.
I don't know, would you want to put particulate matter then, PM?
Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, so we can be consistent in that, so
Yep.
thank you.
Uh-huh. And then recycled there. 1 second. Lou, I think on your sheet you had a couple more things here, but I think this covered it. And additionally, air pollution in the warehouse. No, I need to add that recycled there. Sorry. Okay. This is what I was missing. Okay, let me start here. 212 daily truck trips and creates a significant amount of particulate matter, or PM 2.5, from crushing of concrete and other items which are recycled there. And then the additional air pollution from the operations of a warehouse with up to 768 daily truck trips, including from the debris shed from each truck's many tires.
Question,
Yes.
on the 212 daily truck trips, did we get that data for something somewhere?
Good question.
Because it could be more or whatever.
Right. I'm going to look for, I have,
Need to be like that, but they're gonna be debating. Debate
Right.
step. We want to get to closest to the data as possible.
right. I'm looking at, I had downloaded all the FEIR documents. I'm gonna
Mhm.
do a quick, let me just highlight this and I'll do a quick search for daily truck trips and see what they say.
Mhm.
But we'll come, good point. We'll come back to that one.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Let's see. Got too many screens. Okay. No stipulation regarding a restricted time such as 2 minutes for idling on site. I don't know if we need to make these like bullet points, but they're like distinct statements.
Please, no bullets, please.
No bullets. Okay, no bullets. Next. Per the AB 617 South LA Community Emissions and Reduction Plan, CERP, which includes the project site within its boundaries, requires that the applicant pay for an infiltration system for Amistoy Elementary School and Rosecrans Recreation Center's gymnasium and office. There needs to be a requirement for the permitting. What's that? For the permitting? What is that? All right, there needs to be a requirement for the permittee to create a, is that supposed to be $1 million or $100,000 clean truck incentive program?
Please, let's check that figure because if it's $1 million, we want to make sure that it's 1 million.
Right, this looks like either, this I can't tell.
That's why if it's 1 million, you need to,
I think it's more than zeros. I think it's missing some zeros.
You think there's missing one? That would be
Yeah.
$1 million. Okay.
996 zeros.
Oh,
anyway, that's something to verify.
yeah, I'm
Or
highlighting
put
that.
1 million, just put the word 1 million.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that's what it is because I'm not sure. But
I think
I'm
it's better.
highlighting the yellow things that we'll come back to.
I think it's gonna be more than $1 million now with everything going
Yeah,
on.
it's probably could be $10 million. I don't know.
But we want to make sure we don't want them to say that. We want to be as transparent and correct as possible.
Yes.
Because as you will see, there are things in here that are not coming from the other side. So we want to, if we're gonna call them out, we need to make sure that our facts and what we're saying is accurate.
Right. So
Agreed.
far, I can't find that 212 daily truck trips, just as a FYI. I keep going through all their documents and I can't find that yet.
And Madge,
Yes.
going back up there, the sentence that starts no stipulation regarding a restricted time, there should be
Yes.
put a period on at the end. Okay, sorry.
Yep.
It's not a
No,
period.
you're good. I caught that already. Okay. Where were we? $1 million, maybe not. Okay, so to create insert the dollar number, clean truck incentive program fund and include information about the fund in its agreements with tenants.
Which
To-
tenant? Oh, you're talking about the tenants that's gonna be written or?
That's a good point. Is it this Amastoy and the Rosecrans Recreation Center?
I think they should put more infiltration symptom and offer because you got a retirement center over there, over Vermont. And also you have a hospital over that way. And what else? And they have a nursery school over there.
Mhm.
Yeah, so they have some businesses over there with where the population where little kids be every day and things like that. And so I think they should offer the surrounding, community at anyway, the whole community that lives over there because they're going to be impacted also.
Right. I agree. I
It-
made
it-
a note here and put in yellow that we can maybe verify the names of those places and
But it doesn't mention anything about the residents. Do they get anything?
that's true, Craig.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at too. Yeah.
May I say something? We gotta.
Yes, Lou.
Gotta make sure that we're addressing what's in the FEIR. According to the, they're kind of limited us from going far-fetched and bringing in things that we can't bring in. So do we know what it said in the FEIR that we got about this particular item? Did it have other names on there other than, did they explain it away? Why they aren't listed and why only Amstoy and Rosecrans are listed? Do we know?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Do
Or
we
maybe
know,
take
do
a
we
look
know
at it.
what South LA community, do we know what CERP says?
Okay.
We
I don't know.
got we just can't start throwing in stuff. I mean, that's one of the rules that they told us. We can't go beyond
Right.
Okay.
the FEIR. That's why we had to read it and make sure that we focused on what the responses are.
Right.
We had grounds to rebut what they said, because they're not gonna listen to us. Because they're gonna say, that is beyond the scope of the FEIR or whatever, and we don't want that. They want us
Right.
on the, what's there. And if we have facts to the contrary, with proof like the links or whatever, where they have misled us, they want that included, but we just can't start drawing stuff out of the air.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
that responder minimized and just downplayed a lot of things. We need to know why only Amstoy and Rosecrans is listed, why the others are not, if they were there.
Hmm.
And address that. Because
Okay.
those are not the only, like Craig said, there are residences in the area. Why weren't they included? Are they saying it's not within the boundary or the 100 yards or 1,000 yards of feet or whatever? We have to be clear on what we're saying.
Right.
Mhm.
It may
Okay.
take me a minute to look, but I pulled.
Because surely residents should be seem to have been left out, and we want to know why.
That's a good question. Why was the resident? Okay.
We need
Yeah.
to see what
I
that
can
why that responder, what he said to this.
Yeah, okay, so this is one of the documents from the final EIR, it's section 5. And I just did a, say that again?
Are you looking for air quality in the FEIR?
Yes, and
Okay.
I'm like searching through these documents.
There are a number of different air quality sensitive receptors located within 1,000 feet.
Right.
Project
So
including
it
single.
says senior living.
What page
the Am-
is on, help her out, Arby, what page are you looking at so she can find it quickly?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm on
she-
here, page 1,
Mm.
but that doesn't look right. Yeah, actually it is page 1, the introduction.
Yeah, so. okay,
Air
would be-
quality, okay. Including single family residence. I feel like we could just copy this. Including single family residences, senior living nursing homes, the Amistoy Elementary School and several daycares. They don't even mention the recreation. Let's see. I don't think they mention the Redondo, or sorry, Rosecrans Recreation. Oh, my computer's a little slow, but this is what we can do once we get the letter in a good shape. We can do kind of like a final. Oh, they have it in here 5 times. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, project description. This is page 3. They mention the project site and vicinity depicted in figure 1, blah, 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 blah. Rosecrans Center, Recreation Center, Amistoy. They even mention now the Hustler Casino. I'm just curious. Okay.
RP, Amistoy,
Yeah.
Baby
Hmm.
G, Twinkle Tots.
I
Mhm.
feel like they've listed several things that if we kind of generalize but highlight the Rosecrans Recreation Center, the Amistoy Elementary School, and say like nursing home, whatever they said. Let me go back to the introduction. Page 1. So, including single family residences, senior living, nursing home, Amistoy Elementary School, and several daycares. They specifically say that. So what I'm gonna do, let's go back over to our draft. So per AB 617, yada, 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 requires that the applicant pay for an air infiltration system for, I'm gonna put that there, including for, let's see, for single family residences, senior living, nursing homes, the Amistoy Elementary School, several daycares. And then I'm gonna add the recreation. And Rosecrans Recreation Centers. Now, maybe we should take out the gymnasium and office because they don't say those particular spaces. Keep it like that. And this is literally the places that they outlined in the FEIR. Does everybody feel okay about that?
Mhm.
Okay. So we've got residences, family. I'm not gonna put the Hustler Casino, and I can, but I'm thinking that we just leave that out. And they don't name any of the medical centers, so go ahead, Lou.
Like I'm saying, we need to see what the CERP says before we list all this stuff.
Okay.
What I found in researching and working on my response to my particular number in the FEIR was that the responder had a tendency to slough over, minimize, and leave out things. And that shows something about the responder to me.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that in that CERP, it includes residences, which I cannot fathom that it doesn't. And the things that we're trying to list, but we need to take a look at that just to make sure that we're on track. And it is another indication of seemingly bias by the responder by omitting things that are important and that really are effective. Okay,
Yeah, I hear you, Lou, and I'm making a comment here for us to.
okay, to look up AB 617 and the CERP
Yep,
to see if we can include that in there and that it was left out by the responder in his or her response.
mm-hmm,
Just like I said, if you guys look closely, this is not, these are my particular segment, and this right here is not the only places where omissions occur and sloughing over occurred.
yeah,
You'll see it for yourself. I'm not just saying that just to be saying that, but you will see it for yourself. You will witness for yourself what I'm talking about.
okay. Okay, we'll follow back up with what the CERP says.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let me see, to round out, we're still in air quality, so to promote the use of alternative fuels, money from the fund shall be available no later than the commencement of operations of the first tenant in the project and administered as follows. 100% of all truck trips to the site shall consist of alternative fuel / near zero emission or zero emission trucks in order to meet the objectives of the Clean Truck Incentive Program by 2035, period.
My question is, what did the responder say to that? I mean, if that was what some of the things that was in the draft EIR that we wanted,
Mm-hmm.
what's the response? I mean, we just can't say the same thing over. We need to respond or see what the responder said, so to make sure that we point out what should be there or what we're saying, because the responder had a tendency to minimize and give figures and numbers and saying that it was mitigated and that, but we may need to make sure if that's so.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, Lou, what the answer to that question is, but I've marked a comment down here for us to take a look. If everyone's okay with going to the next section, I can read that. We can always come back. Okay, the next section is land use and planning. Okay. Let's say updated. The updated Harbor Gateway Community Plan, which is near adoption and which the city of Los Angeles delayed updating for 15 years, would not allow such a usage on the property because of it being surrounded by sensitive uses. I think, Lou, you wanted me to put something here that said truck related would not allow a truck related usage. Okay. Our community plan, which is near adoption, and the city of Los Angeles delayed updating for 15 years, will not allow a truck related usage on the property because of it being surrounded by sensitive uses. Okay, that reads okay to me. Next paragraph within land use and planning. The state underlying purpose of the project is to redevelop a vacant, underutilized property into a warehouse slash manufacturing slash high cube warehouse slash distribution center that provides jobs to the Harbor Gateway community and provides goods to the regional economy. This is in quotes. However, from a community perspective, there are many other uses for the property that could redevelop the underutilized property with community serving uses that do not have the same type of air quality, noise, and traffic impacts as what is proposed. Okay. Next paragraph should read. Okay, the project does not meet many of the state attorney general's September 2022 warehouse best practice document, which sets best practices for siting and design considerations for warehouses. I don't know what that means. Siting and design. Design considerations for warehouses, including siting. Not sure what this is. So that their property lines are at least 1,000 feet from the property lines of nearby sensitive receptors. And that 1,000 feet, let's see if that seems like it's coming from this document that they had, section 2. Where did I see that 1,000 feet? Here, it said 100 feet. Could be looking at two different things, but. Oh, we gotta check that 1,000 feet. I'm not sure. So the state attorney general's September 2022 warehouse best practice document. I'm not really sure what that means, but we can come back to that. Okay, next point, AB 98, Carrillo, which is in effect as of January 2026, sets a 900-foot distance for a warehouse from sensitive uses, period. Okay, last bullet point here within the land use and planning. Environmental Justice Policy Program. LA City Planning. The plan acknowledges the relationship between public health and issues such as transportation, housing, environmental justice, and open space, among others. Environmental justice impacts of the proposed project on the community have not been evaluated, and therefore appropriate mitigations have not been required. That is it for this section. Moving on to noise. Looks like I'm missing several things here. So Micah Silver, if you all remember Micah, previously was on our neighborhood, on this committee. And he has since, well, anyways, he's reviewed this and he gave his background, I think, is within sound and sound particular requirements and things, he was able to weigh in and give his feedback specifically on the noise. So a lot of these comments in this section is from Micah. Okay. Noise. There was no analysis of the impact of additional noise contributed by 768 heavy trucks traveling on Redondo Beach Boulevard and Vermont Avenue, past sensitive uses, apartments, homes, schools, church. It's going to put schools, churches, care centers, and park. Only of noise generated on site. 24, I'm assuming that's 24/7 operations. 24/7 operations should not be granted in order to reduce nighttime noise impact on nearby sensitive uses. All hours of operation should be limited to 9 a.m. or sorry, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. The 14-foot sound wall, scroll up a little bit. The 14-foot sound wall was assumed effective without comparative analysis of alternative heights or configurations. The sound plan model included only a single scenario with the barrier in place. No sensitivity testing or alternative barrier modeling was presented, despite the specific request for such evaluation. The responses failed to address whether backup alarms, a major source of nuisance noise, were modeled at all. This is a critical omission, especially for an industrial site with frequent truck maneuvers and reversing. The absence of this modeling renders the results unreliable for assessing real-world impact. Concern regarding sound reflecting off the north side of the proposed 53-foot building facade was brushed aside. The model used in sound plan suppressed own facade reflections, which may be standard practice in some industrial modeling, but is wholly inappropriate in a dense urban environment with proximate residential receptors. Selective use of CEQA metrics obscures real-world impact. The response deflects concern about CNEL-/LEQ masking transient noise events by citing CEQA's preference for those metrics. This avoids the issue. Community health is affected by single event noise, e.g., coupling alarms, which these averages fail to capture. A good faith response would have acknowledged this known limitation rather than hiding behind regulatory convention. Although the response claims the field measurement logs and photographs were included in Appendix FEIR-2, they are absent from the document. This directly contradicts the written response and undermines the transparency of the noise analysis. Throughout the responses, the FEIR relies on general claims about the capabilities of sound plan, the industry standards, rather than demonstrating how the software was specifically used to answer the concerns raised. This amounts to relying on technical jargon that excludes the public from meaningfully understanding the analysis. And go ahead, Lou.
Okay, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Micah noted the responses,
Okay.
calling them out and saying how they have been sloughed over, minimized, and ignored in a lot of places. So I'm glad that that we're reading that, because it is important that we know what has happened here about the responder to our.
Right.
And also up at the first sentence that start, the second paragraph, no, come back, scroll down. Selective use of sequometric. Okay.
Yes.
Here is that should be a small, lowercase.
Use.
Because I thought it was the name of a document. Read it.
Okay. The selective use,
Uh-huh.
so lowercase u.
No,
Selective
no,
use.
no. Obscures, the word obscures should be lowercase o.
What about the u? Selective use?
Okay, Madge. Selective use of sequometric obscures the word yes.
Okay. Okay, how's that? Okay, so this looks or sounds, pun intended, the noise section sounds good to me. Just this, I trust Micah, but I don't know what CNEL-LEQ means. We should look that up just to make sure it's typed correctly. Okay, transportation, and then believe it or not, we only have one other page to go. Okay, transportation. So we said no bullet points. Should I take these bullet points out, Lou? Just to be
No, you don't
consistent.
have- Because it's when we have a whole page of bullet points,
Oh,
but that's perfectly all right. There are only two there, so we can focus on what you're talking about.
all right. There's three, but let me know. I can take them out. Transportation. Okay. Actually, I don't think we need bullet points for this.
No, not,
This looks a little crazy with the bullet points. Okay. To me. Okay. Yes, transportation. The impact to the following intersections where large trucks will be turning and entering was not considered at all. Vermont Avenue and Redondo Beach Boulevard. Sorry. I know we had
those
abbreviated boulevard. I'm gonna make sure that they're all the same.
Madge,
Yes.
you should either put those letters back in there, or you can put bullets there. It's not that many of them, and you're pointing out something specific,
Boulevard. Okay.
identifying which one you're talking about.
Oh yeah, let me put that here. Good point, Lou.
Like you
Good.
had it, it doesn't matter. Or however you want to, however you choose.
Yeah, let's do that. I agree. Okay, intersections. Vermont Avenue at Redondo Beach Boulevard. And I'm making sure that all the Redondo Beach Boulevards read the same versus the abbreviation of boulevard. Intersection 2, Orchard Avenue at Redondo Beach Boulevard. And then the third intersection, Redondo Beach Boulevard / southbound entrance to the I-110. Okay, the impact of the following intersections was not considered. The traffic's, so that's like a statement. Those three intersections were not considered. Next statement, the traffic study solely focuses on the regular automobile traffic generated by those working at the facility and potentially using the 194 surface parking spaces and vehicle miles traveled, VMT. However, VMT does not capture the unique characteristics of large truck traffic. Interesting. Okay, Next, must require video monitoring of each truck entrance, Orchard Avenue and Vermont Avenue, with video records made available for the Department of City Planning review for the purpose of verifying compliance with the number of truck trips. I'll put a period at the end of that. Okay, that's all we have for transportation. I'm gonna move to the next. Hydrology. Hydrology. The latest LARWQB findings not reflected in the FEIR. Go ahead, Lou.
We need to state what those initials are. I mean, it's just
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
alphabet soup.
Yeah, I agree.
What is that?
I'm very curious. Just out of curiosity, let's see if it comes up in this.
And then LARWQB can be in parentheses right next to it, just like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not in this, but this was the air quality document. Okay, I'll search for it on this side. What is this? Okay. Hydrology. I'm not even really sure what that is, but let's move on. Okay, environmental justice. So we just write that the no, that seems weird. I think that's in the wrong section. I think that goes here. I don't think this belongs there. I don't think that belongs there. Whoops. This seems to me like it's in a different section. I'm not sure where this is coming from. Alternatives. After hydrology, alternatives. A realistic assessment of mitigating the impacts of the proposed project through either reducing the size of the warehouse or not approving the project at all was not made. Period. Hold on. Okay. Either. Okay. So no alternatives were made. Either would significantly reduce the air pollution, traffic, and noise impact of the proposed project. And then I think this should say, okay, other conditions on uses for the building due to its location surrounded by sensitive uses. So this, I assume, is still under alternatives. The warehouse building shall not operate as a cold storage or high cube warehouse facility. Vehicles with transfer refrigeration units are not permitted on the project site. I had made, are we okay with capital S for site? I think I had made that lowercase somewhere else. Okay. Vehicles with transfer refrigeration units are not permitted on the project site. The warehouse building shall not operate as a cold storage. Seems. I think this is a duplicate. Where is it? Cold storage, cold storage. Yes, this is copied twice. Okay. So the next piece here says the transfer and storage of any types of hazardous materials are prohibited. And lastly, in this section, all outside storage, including truck storage, outside of designated loading bays, the storage of hazardous materials and other junk and salvage is prohibited on this site. Transfer of storage. Just trying to see if it sounds a little duplicative, but cold storage, vehicles with transfer. Not permitted. The transfer and storage of any hazardous materials are prohibited. All outside storage. Okay. Okay. Oh, almost there. All right, last section, local hire. Local hire program. Okay, local hire program will require that the applicant develop and comply with the local and targeted worker hiring and incentive program for both the construction and the operation of the project with a goal raised to 30%, the goal raised to 30% local workers. Do we know what the current goal is? Like we should show what it needs to be raised to. Is it coming from 5% to 30%? Okay. The permittee should offer incentives. Here's that number again, $100,000. Don't know where that's coming from, but that tells me something. Okay. The permittee should offer incentives of $100,000 to the employers of both the construction and operations components of the project to support the achievement of the goals, including investments in appropriate with designated local training programs. I'm not sure what that means, period. The permittee should offer incentives of $100,000 to the employers of both the construction and operations component of the project to support the achievement of the goals, including investments and appropriate designated local training programs. That sounds a little better. Okay. Last paragraph. For the reasons detailed above, in recognition of our responsibility to the health and well-being of residents, school children, should be 2 words, school children, park users, and all sensitive receptors in the Harbor Gateway North area, we strongly oppose certification of this final EIR. The failure to adequately assess cumulative impacts, propose feasible mitigations, and meaningfully respond to community and agency concerns necessitates recirculation for the EIR under CEQA, period. Respectfully, Joan, Vice Chair, Harbor Gateway North Neighborhood Council. We're CCing Council Member Tim McCosker Council District 15, Pamela Thornton, Planning Director, Council District 15, Rudy Martinez, Field Deputy, Council District 15, South Coast AQMD, California Air Resources Board, Rob Bonta, the State Attorney General, some documents to consult, trucking related uses ordinance. Wilmington Harbor City Community Plan, that's CF 24-0555. May 21st, 2024, Plum Committee. Yes, Lou.
Okay. I just want to say this. I think our letter is great, but we need to make sure that we are addressing the responses. And not saying the same thing over again, because the responder addressed these things. Or I didn't address them, just sloughed them over, like I said, or minimized them, or gave inaccurate or inconsistent mitigation plans, or stated that anyway. So we need to make sure that on each one of these topics that we have, that we are focused on. Did everybody get the email that came out on the 11th that told us how to evaluate this, the final EIR for accuracy and inconsistencies? I mean,
No, what was that, Lou? What,
April 11th? What is that?
April 11th? Wait, what's today? Today's the 15th? April 11th was Friday?
It says Tuesday, the subject is Tuesday, April 15th, Planning and Land Use Committee meeting at 6:30 p.m. Zoom. And it was to the PLU committee.
I'm go on my other screen here. This was on our emails today?
All of us. No, the 11th.
From who?
From HGNNC.
Oh, yes. I think I do have that.
Okay, if you can screen share that, because we need to make sure we're doing that with what we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
Basically, we are, or we're trying, and perhaps it only needs tweaking to make sure that the planning department knows that we were focused and that we are directly responding to. That's it.
Okay, I found it. Yep, February 11th. Hello, PLU committee. Please try to look at the final EIR. Okay, that's the whole document, especially responses to the comments. This is 400 plus pages. Sections 3, revisions, clarifications and corrections, which is attached. Yep. The goal of a review of the final EIR is to evaluate the final EIR for accuracy and completeness. The final EIR should reflect any changes or clarifications made in response to comments. It should ensure that the final EIR accurately describes the proposed project, its potential environmental impacts, and the proposed mitigation measures. Look for any inconsistencies or errors in the final EIR or any omissions of information that were raised as concerns during the draft EIR review. That's a big one. The other goal of reviewing the final EIR is to consider the project's potential environmental impacts. I feel like we've done, just as anecdotally, done that pretty well within those sections. So evaluate whether the final EIR adequately addresses all significant environmental effects of the proposed project, including those that cannot be avoided and any significant irreversible changes. Assess the adequacy of the proposed mitigation measures in minimizing the significant environmental effects. Look for opportunities to suggest additional mitigation measures or alternatives to the project that could further reduce its environmental impacts. And then next section for the goals to review the final EIR, provide specific and evidence-based comments. If you have specific concerns, clearly identify the section of the final EIR that you are addressing. Provide supporting evidence or data to back up your comments, such as references, citations, or expert opinions. And that is, yes, this section, let's see, this section. So this is section 3 that was called out to specifically look through. I think this is 400 pages or something. Okay, that is really helpful, Lou. Thank you for pointing that out. Let's see if I can side by side. Nope. Okay, is there anything in particular? I know we have several things that we have to kind of just validate. That's not gonna do what I wanted to do. Scroll through. There's several things in yellow. Oh, excuse me. That we need to just double check, like the numbers. Maybe this needs to be, oops. Guess I'll open it up if anybody has any additional comments at this time. For our agenda, let me just see. Are we supposed to vote on this today? Let's see. Yes, so we need to vote on this letter. Consideration for a draft letter with recommendation to the board. Okay, folks, we have to vote on this. So open for additional feedback. There's obviously a few things in yellow that we need to clarify or just double, triple check. But outside of that, is there anything else people have noticed and want to note before we vote?
Is this gonna be presented at the next meeting if we decided to vote on it? And there's some things we probably have to get cleared up before next week before we present it to the board and at the general membership meeting.
Right. Yeah, this would definitely be on that agenda. And the timing is really tight because April 22nd is Tuesday.
Next week. Yeah,
Right.
next
It's next week, but then the hearing is on the 24th. So
2
we would
days later.
essentially need to walk away from our general board meeting on the 22nd with a finalized letter that would be sent, you know, that evening or the next morning prior to the hearing
meeting.
on the 24th.
Yeah. I don't
I
know,
feel like
let's-
we're really close, given, you know, with the exception of some of those very particular things we want to double check. I do think it would behoove us to review the final EIR one more time with the lens of the guidance we received, which I kind of lost.
can we have another special meeting? And to come back to finalize the letter before next week?
Possibly, yes. Today's Tuesday.
No, not next Tuesday. It has to be
No,
before
I
next.
just said today is Tuesday. Today is
Yeah.
Tuesday. So yes, if I think we could have another meeting. We have a week or less than a week.
Mm-hmm.
We could also, you know, present it, I suppose, to the board as is and get the board to weigh in as well.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
missing some.
Well, yeah, we could, but then we want to have it close to
Right, we
concrete.
gotta walk away with that being finalized.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure tonight. I mean, I can keep checking and just kind of go through, but probably I'd want to spend a little bit more time looking through it.
Yeah, Lou has her hand up.
Yeah, Lou?
I took it down, but yeah, we're under the gun here. Because
Yeah,
the letter has to, I think the letter has to be at city planning by Monday, the 21st.
but how is that possible if we are?
It's the hearing.
Let's clarify that.
Yeah, we don't have much time, so, and we need to get this to the board as soon as possible, but I just really am reluctant to sit through the board not having a recommendation from us because they'll be going through stuff that we already know and would be our recommendation. So we wouldn't have to explain what a site is or,
right.
I'm saying at this point, our committee knows jargon and the lingo, but the board does. So they will have to, everything would have to be explained. So that would take up a lot of time. So I don't know what to do, but we need to. Whatever you guys want to do is fine with me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we need to really, or I would hope to not have to, make it a working session with the board. I agree that we on this committee are probably the most, the closest to the matter and the most knowledgeable about it compared to others on the larger board. And I do feel like we should walk away tonight voting on our recommendation. I also feel like it's important to make sure that when we cite numbers of trips and anything in particular dollar amounts, that we have something to back that up. So I feel confident that we can look into that and clarify that probably before the board meeting. Hopefully that doesn't take away from our recommendation. So I would like, I don't know if we need a motion. I also don't know if this is the time that we would bring Rosalie back in, but go ahead.
Well, okay, with the time constraints, then, just finish it up and send it to the board. Because the next meeting is gonna be the general membership board meeting and that's gonna take a little long, kinda, depending on what topics is gonna be discussed and everything.
Right. I know we have at least a couple of outside presentations that day.
Yeah, I agree with RV. I think we should, look into the items that you marked with yellow and
Mhm.
present that to the board on the at the general meeting.
The 22nd, Craig, or some other, like doing another special meeting?
Because we want to have this letter done before, we want to have this letter done before we go with the board meeting. Because this
Right.
is a very sensitive, hot topic among some of the people in the community. And we want to have the letter, very clear to where everybody understands. Some people in the community knows about this, but a lot of people don't. And it's probably gonna be people there, they're gonna bring this subject up, this topic up.
Right. I'm just typing because I'm Googling here these things that I have in yellow. So I can clear up. I did Google and the particulate matter, the PM, so that's clear. The CNEL/LEQ, according to Google, which I'm just trusting at this moment, that stands for community noise equivalent level and / equivalent continuous sound level. So CNEL/LEG. It makes sense to me, given that that's in the noise category. So I'm gonna trust that for now. Let's go back. This is kind of like our whoops. This would be, we have to vote on what, if that's our recommendation. Let's see, aesthetics, air quality. Okay, 212 daily trips. I don't know if someone's able to kind of help look for this, but so far I have not been able to find this number. But it says currently permitted, so maybe this is the California Waste.
Okay, when you say currently permitted, so
Yeah.
it's permitted, so they can go up to 212, okay.
Yeah, and I kind of remember that. Let me see if I can pull up our last
What-
meeting. We went over the California Waste Services comment
Yes.
letter.
Yeah, okay, if
And
it's currently permitted, so that's what they're permitted to have, so.
That should not be an issue. We should just go with that.
okay,
Yeah, we covered the 212,
okay,
okay. 'Cause
that's
it
why I
said
couldn't
current-
find it.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
air quality. Okay, so we're back to, how do we know what CERP says?
Well, I tell you what, on this one, so we can send move on with the recommendation to the board. Okay. Nothing precludes us as stakeholders from sending in our own letter and recommendation. So I am requesting that one of us take AB 617, the CERP, as a topic and look into it and submit that as our own comment.
Like separately?
Yeah, I said, we as stakeholders can submit our own letter. I'm submitting my letter, a letter as a stakeholder. Each one of us can do that. Stakeholders are that's what we do. We can weigh in on matters that are before city planning or before hearings. So instead of wasting time or holding the committee up, one of us could take that particular issue, AB 617, research it, and weigh in on it as their own comment for the hearing. As their comment.
Yes.
No, Am I making,
Yeah,
am I making sense? But we,
yeah, it makes sense to me. I'm listening. I'm also kind of Googling because I'm curious, but I agree. I think we can move on. Put this on the side.
see something
Yeah,
that's 17?
yeah, AB 617, it
This
addressed
Google says does not require.
this. Yeah, that's
Oh,
that.
does not require?
This is just quick Google though. I want to look a little bit more into it, but if you
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get everybody mixed up because I was just Google. Oh, wait a minute, I just had it and then it's.
AB 617 specifically within the LA does not require applicants to pay for infiltration system. Instead, the plan provides incentives and funding for air filtration systems in eligible areas like homes and schools. This means that applicants in the designated communities may receive these systems at no cost. Okay, to Lou's point, I don't want to read through all this right now, but I can definitely look more into this. I would suggest others also look into this. And then to Lou's point, we can all, as individual stakeholders, send our personal letters as pertains. So are you suggesting, Lou, that we just take this out? Instead of citing this AB 617, since a quick Google search says it does not require, should we just say, what if we did like this? I just want to cross it out.
Well, do we want them to pay and contribute or something like that, or?
RB, that is not the point of this letter.
no,
Yeah,
no. No, okay, okay, never mind, never mind.
yeah, we can just say here.
Oh, it is?
Maybe what we can say is just start with there needs to be a requirement for the permittee to create $1 billion. Let's just like, I don't know, we can, one suggestion is that we just delete this part and start the paragraph with saying there needs to be a requirement for the permittee to create. I think $1 million, probably more than $1 million, but
$1 million, hey, how about $1 million plus?
$1 million plus. A minimum of $1 million?
Okay.
I don't know.
A minimum.
Create a minimum.
I don't know. What do the rest of you guys think about what we're doing here? Do you agree that we can do this so that we can move on, or what do you say?
Yeah, I agree what you're saying. If individual stakeholders want to write their own letter, that should be done. But as for ours, we could take it out.
I agree, Craig. I think we need to take that out because it says they're not required to do that.
Right.
All that, so we're wasting our time.
Yep. Done. Okay.
So how's it gonna read now?
So then if I just delete this, which I can always put it back. It says, so we're in the air quality section. Oh, I already made this. Oops, I'm getting crazy over here. So after no stipulation regarding a restricted time, such as 2 minutes for idling on site, okay. There needs to be a requirement for the permittee to create a minimum of $1 million, $1 million clean truck incentive program fund and include information about the fund in its agreements with tenants. Then we have to promote the use of alternative fuels. Money from the fund shall be made available no later than the commencement of operations of the first tenant in the project and administered as follows. 100% of all truck trips to the site shall consist of alternative fuel / near zero emission excuse me, or zero emission trucks in order to meet the objectives of the Clean Truck Incentive Program by 2035. We had a note, check what the responder said, make sure we're responding to the response.
And that he hasn't already dismissed what we're trying to say, and that we're just do something that they've already.
So I don't know if I'll be able to do that right now, but do we want to keep that in, or do we want to just strike this whole paragraph? Because it would take me a little longer to check to see what the responder said.
Well, maybe just leave it in, I don't know, but anyway, I want you to say a minimum of $1 million. $1 million, because we want to make sure that they know that we're not talking about $1,000 or 100,000. It goes before, a minimum of 1 million goes before the figures. Move it back over.
Just like one with an M?
Of a minimum of ONE million.
Oh, I see. $1 million.
No comma,
Yep.
minimum of 1 million. Okay, that's good, like that. And then you can put in parentheses the figures. Yes,
Okay. Like that?
yes.
Okay. Perfect.
I love the rest of you guys. I don't want to be the one that's doing all. For everybody, we need to weigh in on this, so this is a joint venture here. And so that we can all submit this letter as from the planning committee as a whole. So. Are you guys, do you guys think what we're doing is okay and you can agree to this?
Well, it's okay. It's addressing, something, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Denisha, are you there?
Citing and design guidelines, that looks correct. Yeah, who else? I'm not able to see. Let's see, Janisha. Janisha's still logged on, but I don't know if she's here. Okay. Citing, that was just something I wanted to double check. Citing and design considerations is the case.
I'm here. I'm just driving, so I couldn't
Oh,
unmute
okay.
myself. But
Okay.
yes, I'm fine with it as well.
Okay, thank you.
Because we want to put on a united front before, with our recommendation before the board. Because if at that board meeting, like I think there will be other people there, because like we all know, this is a hot topic. So we need to be all on the same page with our recommendation. So that's why Imagine is trying to make sure that we're all in agreement with whatever has been tweaked so that we can present this, our recommendation. So thank you all. And please, please, please weigh in so that we can, so that, it's not just like as if one or two people are trying to take over.
I'm just looking into this warehouse projects best practices and mitigation measures. I just Googled it. I'm gonna download this. From Rob, the general attorney. Attorney General, sorry, for the state of California. We had something in yellow about the 1,000 feet from the property.
Yeah.
Wanted to double check that. Get out of the way soon. Let's see. What does the state attorney general September 2022 warehouse best practice document? Siting and design considerations for warehouses, including siting, so that their property lines. Property lines. Let me see. Just curious. Property lines. Okay, there it is. Page Page 6, per California Air Resource Board guidance citing warehouse facilities so that their property lines are at least 1,000 feet from the property lines of the nearest sensitive receptors. So we say,
Oh, okay, look, okay, I want to point out something. Go back to the top of that.
this one?
It said updated September 2022.
Right,
Keep that in mind.
right. And we say that here, that this document is from September 2022.
Okay,
Yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
going to put per this. I'm just gonna put this exactly because we can say, well, we got this from that document, warehouse siting and design considerations. So I'm going to say the project does not meet many of the State Attorney General's September 2022 warehouse practice document, which sets practices for siting and design considerations for warehouses. Period. Including citing, what this, the project does not meet design considerations for warehouse. Per California Air Resource Board, CARB guidance, citing warehouse facilities so that their property lines are at least 1,000 feet from the property lines to the nearest sensitive receptors. So that's exactly what the document says. Maybe I should put that in quotes. Project does not meet many of the State Attorney General's September 2022 warehouse practice document, which sets best practices for siting and design consideration for warehouses. Is that what it says? Yeah,
Yeah.
warehouses. Okay.
Madge,
Yes.
want to comment you are good, girl.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, she like doing her research. Yeah.
I could not
Okay.
do this.
This is good though. Land use and planning. Thank you for the shout out. Let's see. I'm glad this thing is saving because I would be so worried about it not saving. But okay, that reads correctly.
Okay, I want to say something else.
Yeah, go ahead.
AB 98 Carrillo,
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
Okay.
at that too.
change that sentence just to say, goes into effect as a.
Which is in a
And they're gonna
goes.
bring that up and dismiss it, goes into effect
As of January
as
2020.
a goal. Or something
Mm.
like
Are we sure about that? Just tonight, you guys.
that. Yeah, okay, go Google it.
Google it. That's what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's looking to see if everything is.
See?
Was good, didn't I?
January 1st, 2025.
Plans for the bills proposed to related warehouse design and bills standards will not take effect. Oh, okay, will not
Right.
take effect until January 2026.
Right. So it goes
Oh.
into effect. However, maybe we should just put this.
Hmm.
Oh, let's see, what did we say? We said AB. Let me go back. Okay, we said which is in effect as of January 2026. Sets that. Okay, that's kind of the least wordy version, but according to Google, it said it goes into effect January 1st, 2025. However, the compliance requirements for many of the bill's provisions related to warehouse design and build standards will not take effect until January 1st, 2026. I kind of like the simplicity of how we said it before.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
just
is
leave-
It's a little particular, but we're just stating this 900-foot distance. I don't think we need to get into the semantics of it's in effect, but not effect.
I'm easy, whatever.
Okay, but that's a
Yeah.
good call. We checked that, we checked this 1,000 feet. Um, let's
But it's
looking for
gonna go down to 900 in 2026.
warehouses, including. Hold on a second, including site. Okay. I had lost this, so this reads a little better. All right, looking for yellow. Ta-da. Okay, hydrology. I'm also not exactly, I feel like it has something to do with water, the study of water. Hydrology. Scientific study of water on Earth. Okay, so hydrology. The latest LARWQB findings. Okay, so what is in hydrology? Look at that. LARB. We have LARWQB. LARWQB.
LARWQB.
UCB. Okay, in
Yep.
hydrology.
It's the
LARWQB stands for Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board. Okay, I'm glad we looked that up because that was not, whoops. We did not have that correct.
Mm-mm.
Ooh, what would we do without Google? Okay. The latest. Oh boy. I think we're almost done, folks. Hang on. Here we go. The latest Los Angeles Regional Quality Control Board, or LARWQCB findings in parentheses. Yes, Lou.
Okay, let's say the latest, THE, start the sentence with the
Yes.
latest our findings are not.
Reflected, period. In the FEIR. Okay, I learned something today. That's a good one. Okay. Is everyone in agreement of deleting this section, the environmental justice? Not environmental justice as a subject, but I just feel like this is out of place. Unless we know more about the environmental justice policy program.
Let me look.
And I don't believe that was addressed in this FEIR, I'm not sure, but.
Yeah, there is something called the environmental justice, Los Angeles City Planning.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What is the
I think
the
we're
Los
air.
Angeles?
Okay.
No, go ahead, Harvey.
I think we are environmental justice community. I believe we are.
Do we just make like a simple statement that says this is not compliant? I mean, I don't have much to specifically address that, but. Or do we take it out? We did have a section in the land use. Hold please, noise. Where we had this. Environmental Justice Policy Program, LA City Planning. The plan acknowledges the relationship between public health and issues such as transportation, housing, environmental justice, and open space, among others. The environmental justice impacts of the proposed project on the community have not been evaluated, and therefore appropriate mitigations have not been required.
Oh, okay, you addressed it there. Okay.
Yeah, so I think this is, I think we can take
Yeah.
this out.
Yeah, I don't think.
Okay. a couple of spaces here. Nice, okay. And then last, the local hire program. The goal raised to 30% local workers. So I guess the question is, I mean, I think it would be stronger if we knew what it was, what the current proposed percentage of local workers is, to know what we're asking in addition. I'm also okay for simplicity's sake right now, just to say goal raised to a minimum of 30%. To,
Madge,
yes.
could you look at, before you do all that, and I hate to have you go back to this, look in the FEIR and under local hire and see what what was there and what was the response before we waste our time with this.
Okay, local hire me. I hope I can search this again. Oh, okay. Oh, let's see. I'm gonna pull up 2 documents. I'm just pulling from sections of the FEIR. So response to comments and ooh, it's loading. Let me search for local hire. Local hire. Oh, it's a bunch of pages. Give my computer some time to search through. My computer sounds like it's about to take off. Let's give it a minute. Try to close a few things. I think my computer's struggling.
What is the searching doing? Is searching the document for those words?
Yeah, and there's like 422 pages, so it just takes a few minutes.
And I want you to know my comments on page 421.
Okay, yeah, it's only on 95, 7, 8. It's working through. But while that's doing that, I'm curious. This can be so particular with the local hire requirement. I really don't know what the code says. My guidance would say, like at a minimum, just what we're comfortable with versus comparing to whatever they say it is or isn't. 30%. Do we feel like we would want to ask for a minimum of more, higher, or lower?
We need to see what we said already, because to see what how that responder, what the response was.
Okay. My computer is only halfway there, so. It's working, just bear with it. If anybody else was able to kind of search on the side, that's helpful.
You're almost there.
Almost, yeah. 325. Ooh, hopefully everybody got their taxes submitted or submitted for an extension. Or, yeah. Time's running out.
Yes.
Just got an email. Mine's been accepted. So
Not in the FEIR at all.
what's that?
Perhaps local hire is not in the FEIR.
I think it is. I think it'll search and then show it. Oh, 413, 16. Let's see. 22. Oh, it's not there.
Oh, no.
So, are we prevented from bringing something in that's not in this?
Hold on. Local hire. Let's see. Oh, I don't want to post anything. Hold on. Cut it out. Come on.
After all, this is the environmental document that we're dealing with, not hiring a hiring document.
That's true, but I do think that they usually include that in the EIR because it has to do with where workers, it's like an overall sustainability and
And that's what they harp on a lot to say it's gonna bring jobs.
right.
Okay,
But
leave
let's
it,
see.
leave it in,
But
whatever you guys want. I'm not gonna say anymore on the subject.
Okay, just searching this appendix for local hire. Let's see, it's another 455 pages, so it might take 2 or 3 more minutes. Let's see if I can just put that to the side. Oh boy.
Well, the comment letters are important because if it was brought up, that responder responded to it. And that's what we need to see what.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Still searching. Trying to put this on another screen. Yeah, I think my computer's gonna shut down. My computer's giving up. Okay. So this is the last yellow, and we have $100,000. So let's see what we come up with the local hire percentage. And then it says the permittee should offer incentives of $100,000 to the employers of both the construction and operations components of the project to support the achievement of the goals, including investments and appropriate designated local training programs. How do we feel about that? Should we say a minimum of 100,000? More, less? I mean, we have a whole section here devoted to local hire program. Thoughts, comments? This is the last yellow that we have, so we can vote, hopefully. My computer's only 63 out of 455 and searching this section 1 of the draft EIR comments, so bear with that. Offer incentives of incentives. Dollars. Just gonna do this like we did the $1 million. $1,000. And what we did. $1 million. $110 of 455. Bear with it. Does anyone have any other comments while I'm waiting for my computer to scan for local hire program?
Not at the moment. I was looking at the average of percentage of warehouse or higher,
Oh yeah,
And
that's good.
but then I would have to break it down to by community.
Does the city of Los Angeles have a minimum local hire requirement for warehouse? Let's see what Google says to that. Yes. Okay. The city of Los Angeles has a program called the Targeted Local Hire, TLH. Is that what ours is called? Ours is called local hire program. Okay, hold on. Require that the applicant develop and comply with the local and targeted hire worker hiring and incentive program. Okay, this calls it the targeted local hire program. TLH. This program that aims to create alternative pathways for local residents into city, blah, 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 blah. Talks about minimum wage. Where is this coming from? The local hire program, target local hire program. LA local hire.lacity.gov. Let's see. Yeah, so, oh, my computer's jamming now. It's going fast. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't think local hire comes up in the second document. Okay. Yeah, nothing. Just to show you.
Hi, you guys. I think I don't know if this is the same thing, like target local hire within the city. I know it's like a bridge to employment for city employment, but
Oh,
as far
yeah.
as part of this proposal that we're doing, like I don't know if there's a way to um I don't know how it would fit into what we're saying here. Like we could say we want them to hire equitably or something like that. Like I don't know,
Mhm.
based on who lives in the neighborhood or something like that, how we can perhaps put in some language like that, like equitable hiring to you know, to the people who live within a certain radius or whatever. I mean, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I agree because I don't really see anything in the documents. I just searched 2 documents that don't say anything about local hire.
And I
But
don't know
maybe,
if we can require that. You know what I mean? We could say
right.
we would love if there
Suggest-
will be equitable consideration for hiring if you do, build this here in the communities to provide, opportunities for people in the surrounding community.
Maybe we say rehire.
Underserved or underemployed community members or something like that.
So require, require. So we want to say suggestion
Yeah.
or suggestion for consideration of equity in the suggestion for consideration of equity and hiring opportunities within the local community. And then we can say the permittee. Suggestion for consideration of equity
Or
and
equitable hiring.
Oops, crazy. Equitable hiring opportunities within the local community.
Yeah.
You need to say local hire, and Janisha is right. Those laws only apply that we're looking at to county and city. If a contractor wants to get a contract with the city or with the county, they are required by that local hire, however it's stated, they're required to do that. But regular companies and in private industry, they're not required. And like you're saying, this is the best way to go is to suggest local hire. Because it cannot be mandated,
Okay.
unless it's city or county or federal contractors or county or city or
Okay, so how does this sound? Suggestion for consideration of equitable hiring opportunities for both the construction and operation of the project within the local community. within the local community talent pool, like within,
Okay, how about this? Parentheses or i.e. local hire. Period.
okay. Suggestion for consideration of equitable hiring opportunities for both the construction and the operation of the project within the local community, i.e. local hire, period.
Okay. Okay.
The permittee should offer incentives, because we're saying should, not required, but they should offer incentives of a minimum of $100,000 to the employers of both the construction and operations. To both the construction and operations components of the project to support the achievement of the goals. To support the achievement of the goals. I'm not sure what the goals are, including investments and appropriate designated local training programs. To support the achievement of the goals. We should offer incentives of a minimum of $100,000 to the employers of both the construction and the operations component of the project to support the achievement. Does anyone know what that means, or okay if I take that out? It just to support this achievement of the goals isn't really clear to me. So I'm suggesting just it reads incentive minimum of $100,000 to the employers of both the construction and operations components of the project, comma, including investments in appropriate designated local training programs, period. Yeah, okay. Woo, no more yellow, except for this. Check what the responder said. I'm just gonna make it go away. Okay. Are you all ready to vote?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
Someone has to make a motion.
I make a motion that we present for the board for the EIR response letter to the planning commission.
With the corrections. I
With
second too. Yeah, I second. This is Janisha.
Janisha, okay, thank you. Okay. RV motioned, Janisha seconded, making notes, and we'll go through a vote. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Oof, my computer. Sigh of relief. Okay, let's see. Let me get my sheet. All right, I'm gonna take a vote. The chair is vacant. Oops, computer's dying. Okay. The vice chair, Rosalie Preston, has recused herself. Computer shut down on me. Hold on. I'm gonna close stuff out because my computer's doing too much. Hold, please. I got everybody's names here. Okay. The chair is vacant. Rosalie Preston, vice chair is recused. Imagine Nixon, yes. Craig Kusunoki,
Yes.
RV Powell,
Yes,
Janisha Robinson,
Yes.
Rebecca Rodriguez and Angela Springs are still not here. And then Luetta Watson.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 5 of us. So that passes 5, yes, 0. Okay, I'm gonna text Rosalie. Give me a second. Okay, I texted Rosalie. And let's wait for her to come back and move on. I believe we'll be moving on to the last item of the night.
Okay,
go.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Wow, that was a long discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very good one.
Okay, so moving on to item number 5 on the reports. I'll go through this quickly. The update on the oil well issues, one of the homes that is most impacted on 129th Street has had another incidence of water along the curb in front of the house. And previously, there's been an oily substance in the water. Sunday, there was well, as the water was drying, it was leaving a brownish residue along the curb. So I took photos and sent them to our field deputy and also Edgar Macedo, who's the planner overseeing the zoning for oil uses. And Edgar suggested, I thought that LADWP ought to investigate because somehow it looks like water is being pushed up from underground there because the resident is not watering the parkway or grass. And Edgar Macedo suggested contacting the local office of CalGEM. So that's been done and we'll see because someone needs to investigate what's in that residue. And we believe it's related to the J1 Garner well up on 126th Street when they, are doing the fracking with water pressure and it's causing unintended results. On B, California Waste Services, we submitted our comment letter to David Thompson from the local enforcement agency, and he did acknowledge it. I'm not really sure where that is in the process. A couple of the residents did submit some of their own comments to him. Today, I noticed at California Waste Services, there was like this huge crane hovering above the property. But I didn't have time to go over there and try to figure out what that was. On the reopening of the Arco gas station at 854 West El Segundo Boulevard, nothing's happening. I've called the owner several times without getting a response. So just not sure why it's bogged down. I think it's been more than 4 years since they closed to remodel. On the Rexford Industrial, I listened in to the public hearing on April 9th, which was, you could participate by Zoom or in actual attendance at the LA County building in downtown. The hearing officer, Elsa Rodriguez, in the end did approve the application. It was a little hard to follow. If it's interesting because with the LA County planning, they have one representative from each of the 5 supervisorial districts. And in any case, I'm sure we'll see a final letter of determination on that. I did raise the issue of the driveway on the south side of the property that, you would enter from Figueroa to ask if there could be a condition placed in the letter that no, oh, and Arby listened in also, that no, big trucks be allowed to use that driveway, only the regular vehicles of the employees. But that was interesting. Elsa Rodriguez pointed out that because that part of the property is on the LA City side, that especially the entrance, that the county had no role in making that sort of condition. So, but one of the commissioners was kind of interested in doing that. But it was not allowed because it was in the city of LA. And the issue with the city of LA is that because they're just basically remodeling the front of the building for their office section, there's no, it's all by right. So it's only going through building and safety on that side. On the ED1 project at 700 West 120th, does Lou Watson have any updates on that?
I have no update, but upon advice of counsel, nothing can be said on this.
Oh, okay. So there is some kind of lawsuit. Okay, F, Metro Express lanes widening on the 105 freeway impacting Harbor Gateway North, District 6, 7, and 8. There will be a speaker from Metro next Tuesday at our general membership meeting to give an update on that. I haven't heard from anyone in those districts that it's really impacting them so far, and I think I mentioned at our previous meeting in March that from what I've seen on that 105 freeway further west, it's a matter of restriping the lanes, but originally I thought that they were gonna actually move the sound walls a little bit, but I guess we'll find out more exact details next Tuesday. On the Harbor Gateway Community Plan update, haven't heard anything. I had thought it was gonna resume this spring, but maybe it'll be this summer. We'll have to try to find out. And I don't have anything on other planning and land use issues. Angela was gonna bring up the fact that on her block of 118th Street, between San Pedro and Avalon, there's another property that's been sold to a developer, and another large oversized duplex is probably gonna go on that property. So they're quite concerned. They had started a petition that they would get signatures on and then send to Council District 15. So at our next meeting, I think we'll try to create a letter to ask Councilmember McCosker to create a interim control measure like he's done for some other issues, so that the development of those properties with oversized duplexes can be halted until the city creates some stronger guidelines to protect those neighborhoods. So any other issues that people have?
I can't think of anything else, Rosalie.
Okay, so then to set the date of our next meeting, anyone have a suggestion? Do you want to stick with the third Tuesday of May?
I know that date. Let me find the date. Hold on. I know I'm gonna be out of town on that third Tuesday, which is May 20th.
Or do we want to go back to the fourth Thursday? Which would be May 22nd.
Yeah, I'm still out, but we don't have to do it around my schedule.
No, well, we should,
I'm out of town on the 20th as well.
on the 20th of Tuesday.
What
Okay.
about the 6th? For some reason, I had that in my calendar. May 6th?
Yeah, does that work for everyone?
That's better.
Okay,
I need to go get, this is Lou, I need to go get my calendar, please. Just give me
Okay.
a.
Okay, that's fine. But yeah, May 6th, I had that in my calendar and that works for me. So that would be the first, just so happened to be the first Tuesday of the month. But that's 1, 2, 3 weeks from today.
unless we did the fourth Tuesday, May 27th.
I think that's like the day after Memorial Day. I think I'm back in town, but I would prefer to do the 6th versus the
The
27th.
6th. Okay,
Yeah. I think I'm back, but I have a different conflict on the 27th. But let's see what Nick says.
I'm available on May 6th. Did you change it to another date while I was out?
No, we
no,
were
we're gonna go
on
with
this-
May 6th.
I'm fine.
Okay. Did Lou say she is or is not available?
She is.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and we'll, let's see, let me get back to the
9 o'clock.
transcript.
Thanks,
We're gonna-
everyone. Really appreciate everybody's update. And I know that was a lot, but I appreciate it. Got through it.
But thank
Okay.
you for doing the typing and everything and doing the corrections. And thanks
Yeah,
for with the letter.
Okay.
of course.
So we adjourning at 9? We need to.
We're
move to the
adjourning, yeah.
seventh. Okay.
Oh, Lou got her hand up.
Okay, I just want to remind somebody that someone in this group needs to take on that 619 issue. Please.